Hi everyone, it's Barbara with Acting for Community Theatre. So today we're going to continue with our auditioning playlist and we're going to drill down on actually working your monologue. So we talked about how to choose a good monologue, we talked about how to learn lines, tips to sort of help you out, and today we're going to talk about some things that you need to do in order to work on your monologue. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to assume that you've already read the monologue repeatedly, that you've read the play that the monologue comes from, and that you've learned your lines. Yes, they are going to fall out of your head again as you work, but at least they're there as a base so that you can return to them quite quickly and easily. After you've done those things, now it's time to get started on the actual work. So one of the first things you need to do after you've done all those other things is to do a quick character sketch on your character. Who are they? Where did they come from? What kind of background did they have? What kind of family did they come from? Do they have religious beliefs, or what other kinds of things do they believe? What do they do for a living? How old are they? How tall or wide, or how well dressed or poorly dressed are they? Just do a quick character sketch so that you understand who your character is, because you have to embody them. Another way of doing this, and you should do it anyway, is to ask a lot of questions. For example, if that monologue is happening because your character just flew home for Thanksgiving dinner with the family, then I would want to know why. What are they wanting? Why are they going back there? Who do they want to see? What do they want from those people? I would start asking a lot of questions. Questions are always a good way when, especially if you get stuck later, if you're thinking to yourself, why would they ask that question? Why would they say that thing? Get down in there and try to answer those questions. And when you find an answer that works with the script and is useful to the story and excites you, that's when you know you've got a good answer. The next thing, of course, and I hope you've already done this when you were choosing your monologue, is to identify who that character is talking to. Because whoever they're talking to, that's who they're fighting for something from. So they want something from your character and they're fighting to get it. So you need to know who they are and who they are to your character. This is my brother and I haven't seen him in 10 years. Or this is my lover and we've been together for 3 years. You need something desperately from whoever you're talking to. So the relationship matters, how long you've known them, what kind of a relationship it's been, how long you've been away from them, how you feel about them. Is this someone you're competing with? Someone you want revenge from? Someone you want forgiveness from? Who is this person? Who are they to you? And more importantly, what do you want from them? And remember, playwrights, their job is to torture their characters. Characters in a play are not happy-go-lucky, easygoing characters. They are tormented souls, and they desperately need things. They're all a little broken inside. So make it something important. Give it some high stakes. Make it something you fight for because you desperately need it. Another thing to look for are simply the given circumstances. So where are you? When are you? What time of day is it? What time of year is it? And things like what happened just before. What's the moment before you speak? Why are you speaking? What drove you to speak? And what are the circumstances around that? Really important. Once you've identified those things, take a look at your character's arc. Just look at where they're at in the beginning and where they're at the end of the monologue, because that will really give you a sort of a roadmap. Now, having said that, all of these kinds of decisions, once you start working your monologue, can change. But for now, why not just take a look at their journey? Where am I starting at the beginning? Where am I ending up at the end? Maybe I want something desperately at the beginning and I realize I didn't get it at the end, or I don't need it at the end, or I did get it at the end. I'm happy, I'm satisfied, I'm enraged, whatever it is. What's your character arc for the monologue? At this point, you should be able to figure out what this monologue is all about. So what I mean is, what's the action of the monologue? What's the thing that happens? What's the event here? This could be something as simple as George's confession, or June begs for forgiveness, or Brad finally stands up to his boss, or something. This is what you will title your monologue. And the reason that I do that, and I do that for when I'm actually doing a whole play and I chunk the play into units, is that it keeps me very focused on what the action of that section is, in this case, your monologue. And so I keep that firmly in mind, and I always remember this is what this character is doing. This is the event. This is the action of this monologue. So give it a title and put it at the top of your page so that you always remember what it is. And again, it could change, but it probably shouldn't at this point. We'll see. The next thing that you would do is break your monologue up into sections. These are the sections that take you from where you began to where you're going to end up. These sections are basically called beats. That's what we call them in theater when we do scene study. When you're breaking down a script, we break it into beats. And those beats are a single subject matter, or a single action, or a single thought or idea, something like that. So the first section could be, this is why I'm explaining to my brother why I came back for Thanksgiving. So this is us talking about my decision to come back for Thanksgiving, or my trip to come back for Thanksgiving, or whatever it is about coming back. And the next section might be about, why isn't Dad here? Because maybe your character came to see your father and he's not here. So they might be talking about, well, where's Dad? Well, this is where Dad is. That might be a beat. And the next one might be something else, confronting your brother about whatever it is. Whatever those subjects are, you got to make them a section that you can actually work on. And they'll have a beginning and a middle and an end too. But you want to know that this is where we talk about this. This is where we talk about that. That's going to help you work your monologue from the beginning to the end and have it make some sort of sense and have it flow properly, so that you're not just playing everything on one note and it's not some sort of amorphous blob of emotion. It's actually action that's happening all the way along, where we can see your character fighting for different things. And it keeps things, it gives you some variety in the monologue rather than playing everything on one note. It also helps you understand what's actually happening between these two people, because this is how life is. We talk about different things. But in those things comes the journey from the beginning to the end of the monologue. Remember that those beats, those sections, are always about action. So whatever you're calling them, whatever the topic is, you're playing action the whole time. So you need to figure out what you want from that person in every single beat. Every single beat should have some sort of action to it, some sort of tactic, some sort of thing that you're playing that you want from somebody, which is the person that you're on stage with, or because it's a monologue, the person you're pretending you're on stage with. Make sure there's action under every single line. How does this discussion right now help me get closer to what I want from them? Because every time you speak, you're either going to get closer or further away from what you want from that person. And that will dictate what you try next. And these are the things that we have to play underneath the words that we say, is always the tactics that we're using. And those should always be verbs, because, of course, we want to play action. So make sure that each line that you have has a verb underneath it. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. So don't miss this step. Once you figure out what action you're playing and what your journey is, what you want from the other person, what sections or beats are in this monologue, then the next thing to do is to start working those moments. Find the moments, the truthful moments where you are vulnerable, the moments when you are open, when you're needy, when you're feeling stripped down, the moments where you take the wheel of the scene and try to drive it, and the moments where someone grabs it from you. Just find out all those moments. I'm fighting for this. I just had to take a step back. Now I have to try a different tactic. I can't believe what he just said to me. What am I going to say in response? All those little moments are important. And it comes with playing action and throwing something out there to get what you want, and then seeing what comes back to you and like listening and really taking it in, and then responding with another sort of way of trying to get what you want from that person. In a monologue where that person isn't actually there, we have to sort of imagine how they're reacting. And we have to look at our script, at our monologue, to figure that out. Why do I change tactics to this part of the story? Because I got something from them. So we have to sort of imagine that we're seeing that reaction and letting that reaction land, even though that person isn't there. But that is the job. That is acting, is fighting for what you want and responding, and then trying to find another way to come back at it so you're still fighting for what you want. It's just changing tactics, basically, is what it is. Because playwrights put people on stage to release the hell that they have on the inside and find a way to solve it. This is what a monologue is. Somehow they're releasing pent-up fear, or they're releasing some anger that they've been hanging on to for years, or some sadness or desperation or of some kind. And so they're putting that all there out there on the stage in order to get something back. And we have to understand that when we do that, we're looking for responses in other people. We're looking for the thing that we actually want from them. So make sure that that's in there, even though you don't have an actual person to respond. It's really important. So find those moments, work those moments, revise those moments as you find new ones and you figure out, oh, that's what this line is about. That's what she actually means there. And just keep rehearsing and reassessing and repeating. And you just go over that and over that and over that until you've got it to the place where you think it's probably you're on the right path. You're definitely in the right place. And you can start actually doing things like finding the stillness and the silence. And there won't be a lot of that in a monologue. Finding the difference in pace and finding all the little gestures or movements or things that your body will help you with this monologue, because it'll show you things that you need to do. And you'll find those things. Don't force them. But as you get closer and closer to what this monologue really is about, you're going to find more and more stuff in there that you can work with. More little tiny moments, more little looks, more, oh my God, what did I just say? More discoveries, a little bit of thinking, a little bit of, I don't even know what to say to you because what you said was so crazy to me. You will find those moments. So keep looking for them, keep rehearsing, reassessing, and repeating, and then you can start to polish those moments once you find them. And as you start polishing those moments, you can start checking that the whole arc. And it's like, is this really what my monologue is still about? That the title that I put on the top of the page, is that still right in my mind? Is that still showing clearly with what the work that I've done, that I'm still fighting for this thing? Does the arc make sense? Am I still in this place at the beginning and that place at the end? Or did it change? And if it changed, does it change anything else? Just start checking things over and making sure that the monologue has a beginning and a middle and an end, that it makes sense, that it has energy, that it has drive, that it's entertaining, that you're telling a story in some way, that you're connecting with your imaginary scene partner, that you're showing some signs of vulnerability and honesty somewhere, that you've got some emotional range, that you're changing your pace so that it doesn't all sound the same, that you're really playing different tactics so your whole monologue isn't on the same note. Your best bet is always to play action and see where that takes you. Okay, so that is basically a method that you can follow in order to start from getting your monologue and reading it over and understanding the context within the play and learning your lines, all the way to polishing the piece for a performance. So I hope this was instructive and helpful for you, and that you found some things that you could actually work with that will help you get your monologue up on its feet and polished for your audition. And I will see you again soon.